All right, good morning. Let's call the Board of Supervisors meeting. I know Samantha didn't have my television on, so she'll just have to catch up. But today's September 15th at 9 a.m., and we'll call this thing to order. And with a full crowd, let's just kind of audible early and go to Mike Word for an invocation. Word? 'Cause I didn't warm him up for this. I just threw it on him. So
That'd be all right. Let's pray. Father, we come to you this morning, and we just, Lord, we just want to thank you for sparing us from the storm. It appears that, Lord, we're just going to get some rain from this, and we just thank you for sparing us again. Lord, we just ask that you be with the folks that are impacted with the previous storms and this one as well down on the coast, our law enforcement and our fire guys and all the people that are cleaning up these roads. Lord, just keep them safe and just bring them back home to their families. Father, we thank you for everything that you're doing here in Rankin County. We thank you so much for providing the people that say, hey, send me. I'll go and I'll serve and I'll do what's right for our county. Father, it makes such an impact on our families, our children. Lord, we just thank you for everything that we've got. We just ask a special blessing on this meeting this morning that we would actually just do your will. Father, direct. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Great. Thanks, Mike. Welcome to everybody that's here. The first item on our agenda is public comments and recognition, and we're blessed to have Judge McDaniel in place. So, Judge, we're going to turn it over to you with an unlimited time frame, whatever you want to do. It's your show.
3 minutes.
Listen, I only wanted to come here to say thank you. I've seen some of you, but I tell you, my experience here as your county judge for 24 years has been the greatest part of my life ever. And when Fordyce told me he was going to appoint me, I said, I don't know about working for a county. I've been in the feds, and I've been in municipal, I've been in the state. He said, trust me, you're going to love Rankin County. I said, well, I've lived there since '79, but I hadn't been involved in the politics. He said, trust me, you're going to love it. Well, was he right? As usual, Kurt is not an unwise guy. But it's proven to be everything I thought it would be. Y'all have supported me and my court wonderfully. And of course, we've tried to not make it too expensive to operate, and y'all have apparently appreciated that too. So anyway, I just want to thank each one of you and your predecessors. Obviously, not all of you were here. Some of you have been here longer than others. But y'all have, there's just been a succession of leadership here in this county that I love, because each of you is protecting and looking out for the interest of your district. But at the end of the day, it's what's best for Rankin County as a whole. And that just doesn't happen. I talk to my fellow judges when we meet together, and they're all the time having squabbles between this one and that one, and they don't want to agree on something, and one of them will hold up the court's money so they can get something done over here. Anyway, I never had to put up with any of that in 24 years, and I thank y'all and your predecessors for that. And that's all I wanted to say to you, and shake your hands, and I think I shook all the hands so far this morning. So anyway, yeah.
Mr. President,
Yep.
we actually
Mr. Stein.
have a recognition of Judge McDaniel that's more formal than he was prepared for. So I want to read through a resolution that the board has already affixed a signature to.
They didn't even need my speech to
Signal-
do that.
Didn't even need your speech. Judge McDaniel was already ready. I guess we should have told you that ahead of time, and you
Look,
could
I've been
have.
having surprises.
You could have
a lot.
reformed your.
This is better.
You could have really shortened your presentation this
Thank you
morning.
anyway. All right.
Judge, you stand there somewhat embarrassed while I read through this, okay? This is a resolution adopted by the Board of Supervisors for Rankin County, commending and congratulating County Court Judge Kent McDaniel on 24 years of faithful and dedicated service to Rankin County as our county court judge. Whereas the Rankin County Board of Supervisors is the first to recognize the absolute necessity of wise, capable, faithful, and long-serving public servants elected to oversee our county court as judge, whereas there is no greater example of a wise, capable, faithful, and long-serving public servant than County Court Judge Kent McDaniel, who is retiring after 24 years of service. Judge McDaniel's service to the citizens of Rankin County has been exemplary and a model of integrity, professionalism, and fairness in the search of truth and justice. And whereas in recognizing Judge McDaniel's service to our citizens and government, it can be said that he has served Rankin County capably with an open door policy and a willingness to provide advice and counsel in matters large and small. Judge McDaniel has guided our court system with an experienced, learned hand that has proven to be beneficial to the administration of justice among all of our citizens. Judge McDaniel's knowledge of the law and capable application of the law is extensive, rare, and special. He will be missed and will be hard to replace. Now therefore be it resolved that the Rankin County Board of Supervisors congratulates and commends Judge Kent McDaniel on the occasion of his retirement following 24 years of faithful service as county court judge. The Board of Supervisors wishes Judge McDaniel and his family many years of happiness and fulfillment following his retirement. Thank you, Judge McDaniel, for the indelible mark of integrity, wisdom, character, and goodwill that you have left on each of us, as well as your fine example of sacrificial public service to our wonderful county. This is resolved the 15th day of September 2021. It's executed by each of the 5 supervisors and by our Chancery Clerk, Mr. Swales. Judge McDaniel, congratulations on your retirement and thank you.
Hey, Judge, can we come down here and get a picture with you? You good with that while we're here?
Well,
And
absolutely, but I don't think it won't win.
you never know.
What you call a lame
I think we just come down here and get a picture around you, if that's all right. Hey, Slay, while we're doing this, do we have any authority to revoke his retirement? Is that,
Well,
can we make that motion to do
Check
it?
the statute on that, no.
we do have law enforcement officers here if y'all wish to effect a citizen's arrest.
Larry, you and Brian, come on, come up. Right here in the center.
I think I would compensate the judge for every night I woke him up. After midnight.
This was the only supervisor, the only county official I knew before I came to work here, and I came to work anyway.
All good?
Thank you, sir. Thanks, sir.
Judge, thank you.
I got one piece of work I think I'm supposed to do.
Yes, sir.
Before I get out of here, I got a trial waiting right there. Turned out they're gonna leave anyway.
Okay, just let them wait for a few minutes. Let them sweat it out.
So that they change their mind a lot.
Thank you, Chuck.
Don't mind if we take just a minute to swear in our newest constable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He-
sure,
He
absolutely.
hasn't been official yet, but the vote is official, and he can get sworn in anytime after he's elected. So-
Yeah, do you want to do that now, or?
Yes.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Do I
that
need to put
way
it on the
we can-
agenda, or we just go?
We can send Judge Mack back. Judge Mack's going to affect the actual swearing in himself, and so.
That's all right.
Sure, sure.
With the board's permission, Mr. President, I'd like
Sure.
to move under Section 8, Item O. I would like to ask for your indulgence to move that up to this part of the agenda in public comment and allow me to present that to the board.
Yeah, do we need to take action on it, or just do it?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right,
sir.
so we get a motion, entertain a motion to move that to the front of the agenda?
Motion.
So
Move it to
motion
the front.
by Mr. Gaines, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with a like sign? It's moved up to the front. So, Mr. Slay?
I'm going to
proceed.
ask Mr. Glenn Dixon to step forward along with his family members who are present, to come forward now at this time while we move through this particular agenda item, and that way he'll be in a position when Judge Mack is ready to administer the oath. This item that we just moved is an acknowledgement of receipt of a letter of certification that has been received by the board from the Rankin County Election Commission, certifying that only one person, Glenn Dixon, has qualified as a candidate to fill the currently vacant county district office of Constable District 2. And pursuant to Mississippi Code Section 2315-839, upon receipt of the certification from the Election Commission that only one candidate has qualified for the special election to fill the vacancy that was created by the retiring predecessor, there is no need, and the board may dispense with any regular special election, and the board shall appoint the certified candidate to fill the unexpired term. So we're asking the board to appoint Glenn A. Dixon, whose address is 515 Spring Hill Crossing in Brandon, 39047, to fill the unexpired term of the prior office holder for Rankin County Constable District 2. And I need you to authorize the clerk of the board, which is your chancery clerk, to take all actions and to do all things necessary to certify the appointed candidate to the Mississippi Secretary of State's office. And we're also asking the board to acknowledge that the governor of the state of Mississippi is actually required to commission Mr. Dixon as the appointed candidate before he may assume the duties of the office. That's all by statute. And so we're going to go ahead and have, when the board is ready to entertain a motion to authorize all of this in a second, and we vote on this, we'll move forward to the next step.
All right, so I entertain a motion to acknowledge this receipt.
Motion to acknowledge the receipt of the item and all of the
All of the
wordage.
other stuff.
Yeah,
All
so,
right.
so motion
Verbiage.
by Mr. Gaines,
Second.
second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with a like sign.
Yes. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Judge McDaniel to perform the swearing in of our candidate, Mr. Dixon. I want to congratulate Mr. Dixon on running an excellent campaign.
Yes.
All right, he had me swearing in as garbage collector. Just a typo. This is a real honor to do this. I've sworn in thousands of people, thanks to the sheriff. I'm his go-to swearing in guy. But I'm glad to do this. And I want to tell you that winning in an uncontested race is the only way to go. I think very few of these ever got a chance to do that, but it's the way to go. So anyway, I'm just going to ask you to repeat after me. Does somebody want to hold this one? No? Okay. You're not going to drop it. Hold it. I'm going to get it. Hold it. Put your left hand on there and raise your right hand. All right? Repeat after me. I, Glenn Dixon.
I, Glenn Dixon.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully support.
That I will faithfully support.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Mississippi.
And the Constitution of the State of Mississippi.
And obey the laws thereof.
And obey the laws thereof.
That I'm not disqualified.
That I'm not disqualified.
From holding the office.
From holding the office.
Of Constable District 2, Rankin County.
Of Constable of District 2, Rankin County.
That I will faithfully discharge.
That I will faithfully
The
discharge.
duties of the office.
The duties of the office.
Upon which.
Upon which.
I'm about to enter.
I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, Manny. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right. Y'all want to grill him? No?
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.
One of my fans. Yeah. I got a line of them. All right, good. Thank you, Judge McDaniel, and thank you for moving that up. We'll continue down our board agenda under item B. Mr. Dave Van, Executive Director of Region 8 Mental Health. Good morning, Mr. Van. How are you this morning?
I'm great, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President, fellow Board of Supervisors.
I want to see what he does.
Congratulations, Judge McDaniel. I'm right behind you. If I could be half the minute, you all be successful. That's correct. We can do that. That's one way to get them to stay, is involuntary commitment.
David, it'll take about 5 minutes to put a resolution to
We can do it, man, if that's what y'all want to do. We can do it. Thank you, Mr. President, fellow Board of Supervisors. Thank you for letting me come before you today. Senate Bill 2100 requires me to come before you at least once a year, give you our annual report and answer any questions you might have about Region 8 Mental Health Services, which is your public mental health system here in Rankin County. And this is my 24th consecutive year to come before you. Hopefully there won't be many more, but I just want to say thank you for all you do for Region 8, all the people of this county, and the most vulnerable population that we have. And your allocations to Region 8 is used to serve the indigent. We serve everybody regardless of their ability to pay, but it's only possible because of your support of Region 8 and that population here in Rankin County. Again, I want to thank you for your allocations. In 24 years, I've never asked for additional allocations, even though the law says 3/4 of a meal has to go to the community mental health center. We've been able to make it, and we thank the good Lord. We operate on faith, but we also thank you guys for your support. And Mr. President, may I approach and give you
Sure.
this annual report?
Sure, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna speak while he's passing that out. I
Thanks.
keep bragging on them enough, they bend over backwards for us, he answers the phone any time of day or night. They work wonders in that jail, helping us with the mentally ill in the jail. Anything we ever ask for, he bends over backwards, we really appreciate it.
I'll agree with that.
I stand in ditto of that, good thing, it's a good thing after us and all the things that we do in the county clerk's office and especially working with the DA's office as well. We're working on a case right now, but it's been a big help and helping us through, but I can't say enough things about this man,
Yeah.
he's first class.
I want us to put a ditto on that too, plus I forgot my
But I thank you anyway. Thank you for the kind words.
Celebrate that.
Yeah. I want to thank you guys for working with us, but also your team here in Rankin County, Chancellor Clerk Larry and Brian and these guys that had kind words to say about Region 8. I appreciate them, but we do work with them every day. And Judy, your whole staff here, and it's not like that in all the counties throughout the state of Mississippi. You guys know that. Judge McDaniel talked a little bit about that, but I get to see a little bit of the other side, and so we're just so thankful that that we have you guys as our leaders here in Rankin County, and for your support of Region 8. Real quick, we're not asking for additional allocations at all. Of course, we haven't in 24 years, and as long as we got a dime left over in the year, we won't ever ask you. And so just quick numbers here. We spent $8,136,000 in Rankin County right over here on Marquette Road during the last fiscal year. And right now today we've got 153 employees there. Your allocations again helps us to serve those individuals that can't pay for services in the county, and it's very much needed. Do you guys have any questions for me at all?
No, I just want to, all I can say is thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
All right, I think we're good. Thank you, Mr. Van.
Thank you,
We
Mr.
appreciate
President.
you.
Thank you, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
All right, moving along the agenda, item 3 under public comments and recognition is Mr. Giuliano.
You here?
I think Janice is walking outside to
Oh.
Get him.
take a peek.
Doesn't show rain mail. Like that. Rain. Doesn't show. Then again, maybe it did.
All right, Mr. Giuliano.
Morning.
Hello. Yes, my name's Chaz Galano.
Oh, Giuliano.
It's all right. And I'm here to oppose the site for the shooting range down Shallow Road. I'm from Brandon, grew up in Brandon, went to high school in Brandon. I work in Brandon as a financial advisor at Trustmark, okay, right here in Brandon. My partner and I, Andrew, he's my business partner too. He's a financial advisor as well. About 6 years ago, we bought 500 acres down Shallow Road. And less than a year ago, we came before you guys to do a subdivision. And so when we met with you guys, you had some requests from us, which was that, hey, let's keep these houses at 2,400 square feet or higher. You requested no barndominiums, which I didn't know what that was until later. I said, sure, that's fine. You guys requested that there wouldn't be any kind of mobile homes there while they were building the house. So I have very strict covenants. And I have split this into 11 lots that are ranging from 3.5 acres to 7.5 acre lots. And depending on that, my partner and I were going to want to develop down the road the rest of the 500 acres. That was going to be a nice subdivision. I live in Center Point. Those are 2-acre, 3-acre lots. I think Brandon needs more of that. I think Rankin County needs more of that. So I was willing to take my time. There were plenty of people that came to want to buy our lots that we pushed away. Plenty. And now we're starting to get traction. And then we find out there's going to be a shooting range down the road. So, of course, there's y'all's zoning map. And half of the county that's white is agriculture zone. And this is a close-up of my land in the shooting range. You cannot be closer than that on a residential zone. Can't get any closer than that. So obviously with the shooting range, there's noise pollution. If this was a dump site or whatever, I can understand screening and we can screen that. But when you're doing a shooting range, noise pollution will spill over to up to 2 miles. And of course, you're going 2 miles into a residential zone. Now, I did take civics class in high school. I didn't pay attention. But of course, zoning, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, is basically to plan for the future for the county. So when I see zoning for residential, I'm assuming that you guys like to develop towards that way. Being from Brandon, of course, you know development's going to go out towards Shiloh. Development's going to go out towards Trickenbridge. Development's going to go out to the Parkway. Once we have the Parkway, we're going to have grocery stores. We're going to have other stores. It will develop that way. So with the 2,400 square feet recommended from you guys, I'm building $300,000 to $400,000 houses. And anyone who's building a $300,000 to $400,000 house wants to hear constant shooting out in the gun range. I just don't know what the county wants to do as far as developing this zone. So, of course, I've got an investment that I have to protect. I know you guys, I'm nothing against the sheriff, nothing. Look, Rankin County is a fast-growing county. I love the county. I love Brandon. I support the sheriff. I truly believe you do need a gun range. It's crazy that you don't have one. I'm simply saying that it's not feasible to have it right next to a residential zone. If it was just 2, 4, 5 miles into the agriculture zoning, this wouldn't be an issue for the residential zoning. So I'll be real quick here. Last night I spent an hour, all I did was Google gun range and residential zoning, next to residential zoning. And you wouldn't believe all across America, this is happening right now. The only thing is, and this is good news for us, they are already developed. And these are houses that are already developed, areas that are already developed in the gun range. As it becomes more developed, they're running into problems. So we have an opportunity where we are not as developed as those guys are, to where we could plan and try to figure out other sites for the gun range. I will share with you, it's amazing here, it's Los Angeles City Council reports that complaints about a police firing range prompted the City Council to approve $100,000 to improve existing soundproofing for the facility. Residents complain that gunfire can be heard 2 miles away. This is a quote. "I am really dismayed that we are finding there were important things that we overlooked." That's Councilwoman Laura Chick said. "To have forgotten about the issues of neighbors and noise is absolutely something we have to correct." So I'm just saying you have an opportunity to hear us out and figure out what's the right way to do this. It is recommended that sound levels at a property line of, this is on a BC Wildlife Federation. It is recommended that sound levels of a property line of your gun range should, do not exceed 65 decibels in an urban or suburban residential area. Superhighways are often at 60 to 70 decibels range for 16 to 24 hours per day. Okay, just sharing with you. There are several articles with towns on the same dispute. And every article that I've read, the county did everything they can to lower the sound pollution, but make no mistake, a gun range will lower property values. They will. I mean, they're not gonna raise property values. My subdivision, of course, was trying to raise property values in that area. There's gonna be more developers that are gonna wanna do that. I don't develop properties for a living. I'm a financial advisor, so I can wait. I'm not gonna get hurt on this deal or anything like that. I just care about the community, the people that are there, and I was willing to develop it up. So if you are willing and dead set on having a gun range there, I did research several ways of limiting the decibels. Of course, range should be located facing a natural hill. Berms and barriers should be as close and high as possible. Barriers should be covered with sound-absorbing, weatherproof material. And I think Mr. Paul Holly was talking about doing all that. There is a interesting thing. There should be a shooter enclosure with interior surfaces covered with sound-absorbing material where possible. Trees on tops of berms. I found this out. Trees on top of berms and near barriers should be avoided. I wouldn't think that. So when you shoot a gun, it's 120 decibels. It goes down to 80 decibels over 2 miles, and it starts to drop. So if we got to do anything, we've got to, if we have it there, we've got to lower the decibels down. But I'm telling you, 10, 15, 20 years as this gets developed our way, you're going to have a problem again. And that's what I've seen on the internet. As this gets developed, you're going to have a problem. So I've got near 40 people who have signed a letter, 40 letters. This is in 2 days. I can get more if you want. So what's interesting is they wrote nice, pleasant notes on here for you guys to read. But what's interesting, and this has happened 4 or 5 times, people have mentioned Marquette Road. If we're talking about location, well, of course, it's convenient, because that's why I'm building houses there. It's convenient to build a house, live there, and go right into Brandon. It's convenient for the sheriff to have it where it is. I get that. Marquette Road is more convenient. All I'm asking is just slow your roll, look to see the other areas, see what the impact's going to be. And I'm willing to work with you guys. If it's dead set, that's where we want to be, and that's where we're going. I'd like to work with you guys on how to lower that down. I've also I've got an engineering company that will come out and actually look at the shooting range, and they guarantee 25% lower decibel as well on this. So there's a lot of research out there that's incredible of how to keep those decibels down. And I think the sheriff mentioned when Josh Thrash was here that, we're talking about 25 days, 30 days out of the year. And what I'm reading through the internet, that's not going to be the case. I think that once you start letting other, Brandon PD or Pearl or whoever, and then 4-H and then Scouts and everything else, this slowly gets up into numerous days. And Minnesota, by the way, has set their decibel range at 63. There's all this concern going around, and there is laws being in place now because it was too late. So anyway, I know Paul Holly. I talked with him a little bit, and I know he mentioned wherever we have it, we will have opposition, and he's right. wherever you're going to have it, you're going to have opposition. But the wherever is interesting because that means we can move this to other areas. Let's do it with the least impactful opposition, not next to a housing zone.
All right. Well, we appreciate your comments, Mr. Giuliani, and we'll take them all into consideration. I know we're still having more discussions on it, so we appreciate you coming in this morning.
All right, thank you.
Daniel,
Yeah.
let me address one thing,
Sure.
Chaz.
Yes.
I met with you, and y'all, whenever you were planning to subdivide it.
Yes, sir.
It was my understanding you had already bought the land.
Correct.
And the subdivision, I just want to be clear and on the record, we were very fair with the, requirements, suggestions, whatever. Your 2-acre lots are the smallest that I have approved for a subdivision.
Mine are not 2-acre lots.
Well, you said 2 acre.
3 acre,
well,
5 acre, and 7
You
acre.
said down
lots.
to 2 acre though. But anyhow,
I don't know.
and the 2,400 is probably a little less, but it probably, I mean, at least medium. And I support what you're coming in here saying. I
Yeah.
totally understand. Yesterday I told you that
Yeah.
I will do everything that I can. I'm one of 5, but I'm here to help you. So just
Well, and I'll say one thing too. 25 years from now, you guys won't be
Right,
supervisors.
that's right.
25 years, sheriff won't be the sheriff. But everybody else that lives in these houses will still be there 25 years. So, I mean, I'll make a proposal right now. I'll withdraw the opposition, and I'll probably talk to most of these people. If the sheriff can guarantee me less than 50 days a year shooting and decibels are lower than 65, and have a set schedule in place.
Well, and I appreciate those comments, and that's something we'll take into consideration. We'll talk about it among our group and
Okay.
figure out. We're not knee-jerking any decision.
Yeah,
Everything's
okay.
thought through pretty well. This is not just some wild bunch of cowboys running around, popping things off. So we're going to make some good decisions. We're going to keep having our discussions. We appreciate your comments. We'll sit down with the sheriff and Mr. Holly and keep on our discussion. So we appreciate your comments. Thank you for coming in.
Okay.
And we'll definitely take everything into consideration.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
yes.
Hey, can you leave us those?
Yes,
letters?
that would be great.
Leave Mr. Slade.
Yeah.
Would y'all allow me to make a couple comments?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
If you want to,
please,
Sheriff,
Sheriff.
absolutely.
I understand completely where you're at on this and
Yes,
everything, but I don't think you understand. One thing, you talk about California, you talk about Minnesota and everything, and the Mississippi Law Enforcement Officer Training Academy has been out there on 468 since the early 70s. I lived at Patrick Farms. That range had no impact at all me buying a house at Patrick Farms. There were no houses around there. Subdivisions have steadily built up, more and more houses. It hadn't affected the subdivisions at all. They're selling houses every day in both locations. I don't think the range would affect it at all. I'm not gonna build a range that have like guidelines that I have to follow from somebody else. I have an FBI instructor, firearms instructor that retired from the FBI. I hired him off the sheriff's office. I'm gonna build the range to his specifications, and we follow his training guidelines, which we qualify 4 times a year. 3 of those times are during the day, when there's 1 time at night. So I'm saying 4 times a year, 4 or 5 times a year, there'll be a night fire. The rest of the times, maybe 3 or 4 days a week, there'll be some kind of fire going out there. I think the 4H and stuff are shooting 22s, and I don't think that will have any impact
That's the
at all.
biggest caliber.
But there's nowhere at all for, besides in Loda, which there's some booked up, now they shoot every single day. You go out there and listen, they shoot every single day out there. This is just for Rankin County Sheriff's Office, Rankin County agencies, and Rankin County children. And I say, this isn't a chicken house or a hog house or something that's gonna go right there, but it's, I promise
That's
you-
easier to cover up.
No, not
I mean, you got the smell,
Yeah,
okay.
hog house.
All right, now, well, there's the same thing. So hog house, there's the smell. Shooting range, there's the noise.
But I think you'd have the same opposition if we were up here building a county
Sure.
hog house for the jail, to supply the jail. And, the folks that are, and I guarantee this, you're gonna build those lots, and you're gonna make a lot of money off of them. And part of the reason you're making that money is because of the job, not only the Board of Supervisors does with the roads, the school district does, but
Right.
the level of law enforcement and safety we have here in the county. So I think that a firearms range is a small price to pay for the services you get here in the county. Also, once you build the houses and the lots out there and everything, I guarantee you, the first day of dove season, the first day of deer season, people will be calling and raising, they're shooting down here, they're shooting down there. Not a thing we can do. You're gonna hear just as much shooting whether the range is out there or not. It's a rural area, it's out in the middle of nowhere. You know, it's out in the county, out in the country. So, I just don't, it's not gonna be every single day somebody out there shooting five, but I mean, I'll have restrictions. It'll be, there'll be guidelines to who and what times people can go out there and shoot. It's not gonna be a free-for-all.
Yeah.
But
Well-
I just want, my biggest point I want to make out to you is that the shooting out there, Malota didn't slow down any sales. They still selling out there.
Sure.
That's all I
I
All right,
appreciate it,
Thank you,
Sheriff.
Sheriff, and thank you, Mr.
Thank
Giuliano.
you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 4 under old business. The board wishes to entertain a motion on minutes approval.
Motion.
So a motion by Mr. Gaines. Second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed with the like sign. Item 4 passes. So item 5, consent agenda.
Motion approved.
So motion to approve by Mr. Calhoun,
Second.
second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs. Item 5 passes. Item 6, Mr. Sullivan's not here. Would somebody want to pick up his area? Lance, how are you?
Come on.
Y'all doing all right this morning?
Excellent.
I'll make up for John this morning. We'd like to approve approval of the final resolution for ad valorem tax exemptions for the 21 tax year for Newport Steel and Spinal USA.
So moved.
Second.
So I got a motion by Mr. Calhoun to approve,
Second.
second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion?
Yeah, is this, the spinal, did you get it resolved? Okay.
All right, any other public comments or board comments? Very good. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? So, and I'll abstain from that vote on the same side, please. Thank you for that.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. It's amazing how we got through this meeting so far. Bored here, you know. All right, Mr. Harrison, road manager.
We were done this time last week.
Hey, I'm just piecing it together, you know, piecing it together.
Morning.
Morning.
Request approval for AT&T permit on Leah Vanderpool Road to Highway 541.
Board wishes to
Make a
entertain some motion. Mr. Calhoun with a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the like sign? Item A passes. Item B, Mr. Harris.
I'd like to take B and C together. They're both in the same area. We got Center Point just wanting to install a gas line on Stump Bridge and Stoll Road. I've met with them out there, and they got a utility easement out there, so they'll be able to get in it and won't affect the roadway.
All right, so he wants to wrap B and C together. Does the board have a motion for that?
I'll make,
Motion
I'll
to
make
approve
a
A and B.
All right, so motion by
Or B and
Mr.
C.
Bishop
Yeah.
to combine B and C together. Second by Mr.
Second.
Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the like sign? So item B and C passes. Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you.
Mr. Slade, good morning. Item 8, public hearings. So,
It's like, Mr. President, we've got items A through E that are to set public hearings. They appear to be nuisance property settings. They're all for September 30 at 9 a.m. If I could get a motion on A through E.
all right.
I make a motion that we put A through E in one, vote, and then.
I'll come right back to you on that. So motion by Mr. Gaines to include items A through E.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with like sign. So A through E passes. So, Mr. Gaines, you want to come back
Yep.
on F through J? Mr.
Yes.
Slade, is that good with you?
Yes, sir, that'll work.
So,
Did we,
sir?
did we made the motion to put them together? Did that?
We just passed them.
Okay, pass,
just
okay.
pass
All right.
those. Yep.
I make a motion for F and G to be combined.
We can probably run it through J if you're all right with
Okay,
that.
go all the way to J with that.
Okay, so Mr. Gaines' motion is to combine F through J. Does the board have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Mr. Slade has an outstanding job on setting those.
Very
So
good.
public hearings beginning with item K.
Item K is a public hearing for Dependable Financial Services LLC. This is a rezoning request related to Woodrow Martin Road. That's a District 3 parcel. We'll open that public hearing. I will ask that anyone here on behalf of Dependable Financial be prepared to speak. Anyone here in opposition be prepared to speak. Dependable Financial Services LLC is seeking to rezone a 31.2 acre parcel on Woodrow Martin Road from A2 to RE1. They plan to develop the property into 3 lots. Each lot will be composed, one lot will be 9.86 acres, one lot will be 12.07 acres, and the third lot will be 9.18 acres. They propose the lots to front on the public road, and each lot will exceed the 100-foot minimum lot width required in the RE1 zone. Developer will place the following deed restrictions on the property when it is sold: 1,800 square foot minimum heated and cooled, 150-foot setback for any structure. Accessory structures must be placed behind the home site. No further subdividing of the 3 lots without board approval, and no manufactured housing or mobile homes will be allowed. This time that public hearing is open. I'll ask if there is anyone here to speak in opposition to the Dependable Financial Services LLC rezoning request. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter? If you'll come forward, please, state your name and address.
Hey, good morning.
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 Thank y'all for the time this morning.
Yes, sir.
My name is Andrew Jernigan, and I live on the east side of this property that's being proposed for rezoning. And I'm not here in opposition, but I'm here requesting more information because I'm an engineer myself, and all of the runoff from this property will run across. I've got 85 acres on the east side, and all of the runoff, you know, once you start developing, I've got 80 acres of plantation pines. So I've got a large investment on the backside of this. So I'm just asking for more information from Dependable as to how they're going to control the runoff to keep it from, you know, damaging my investment.
Great.
They submitted a water drainage.
I'm sorry, Brett.
They did submit a water plan drainage in. Tim?
Yeah. So typically our process is this: if the board rezones, the developer then can proceed with the development activity. The piece that you're talking about, which is drainage, how the water moves in and around the site, that's addressed at the site plan stage. We're not there yet. They don't want to spend money on engineering, you can imagine.
Absolutely.
Unless the property is rezoned.
Right.
So once it's established that they can do what they think they want to do, then they have to move forward with that. That's typically in-house. We don't avail that to the public, but we're looking at the drainage patterns and the drainage issues. You're welcome to submit a public record request at some point and say, I want to see the drainage study, whatever you want to do with that. But my advice would be make sure if this thing, the board decides to rezone it, you need to get with your neighbor, and y'all need to talk about your concerns with respect to drainage, just being neighborly.
When you say neighbor.
I'm assuming, are y'all?
No.
Y'all not, I'm sorry, I looked back there and I saw Stephen and I thought, he's gotta be involved. Okay. Whoever Dependable is, I don't know who that is. Who's that?
Glenn South.
Glenn Sowell?
Yeah.
I'd make sure I contacted Mr. Sowell. Ms. Renee can help you with contact information.
Okay.
And just address your concerns with him. The rezoning is kind of one deal that we're looking at. And for purposes of rezoning, it is, can they demonstrate that there's been a change in the character and the quality of the neighborhood so that there is a public need for additional housing stock all over this county? That's a pretty easy proof.
And normally, if it was another quarter acre larger on the 9 acres, we wouldn't have to rezone it, it'd stay A1. I mean, it's just it's below 10 acres is the reason he's having to rezone it. Now, he could have went in there and redrawn the lines and had everything at 10 acres.
Right.
But he wanted to leave it like it was, and that's the reason it's being rezoned.
Well, like I said, that's my main concern because I've got a large investment. I want to make sure that, you know, I'm protected.
Well, I think also on that same side, any of the water flow doesn't need to be really disturbed. It's got to flow into the right path that's there. And I think Brad stays on top of that pretty good in conjunction with our illustrious engineer on the backside back over there. So I don't know where he's at, but if he's here. So now Tim Parker's our county engineer on the same side. So
Okay.
y'all can talk in code to each other on the engineer side. But I know Brad stays on top of the zone part of it. So
Okay.
on the drainage side. So
Sounds good.
all right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your
If you want-
comments.
If you want to get the number from Glenn
Yeah.
or Lee.
Thank you.
You good with
So, what I would suggest, guys, on this rezoning, since we've had it brought to our attention, and as an accommodation to Mr. Jernigan, who bothered to come up here, I would suggest that we make one additional condition to your rezoning, should you choose to do that, Brad. One additional condition would be that they have clearly established and met all requirements of any drainage and stormwater impacts on surrounding properties. Just make that a condition to your rezoning.
I mean, that's fine, but I mean, don't we look at that?
We're gonna look at it, but we
Anyway,
don't, we generally don't address it as a part of the zoning. I'm just
I got
saying,
you.
since Mr. Jernigan's here, and to make it clear to the property owner, you will address this to the satisfaction of the board and to our staff, so that there's no negative impact on Mr. Jernigan. It's an extra measure of protection for Mr. Jernigan if it ever becomes an issue.
Can I ask, is there any drainage issue that is going on right now,
Not right now. I know they just
or last
cleared-
10
They
years?
just cleared some timber,
Yeah.
select cut, no issues right now, but as you can imagine, when you start developing,
Well,
all
he-
the red mud's gonna wash, and everything comes up down my property, so.
It's my understanding that this is gonna be broke up in like three or
Three
four,
lots.
Three big lots.
large, and
Right.
it could be as down to 1.5 or 2 acre. You know,
Right.
we don't want that. We want large, good-looking lots.
That's why I
And
do.
I think what he's doing is not, if anything, it's gonna make your property more valuable.
Yeah, and
I see that.
I mean, it's a cutover now. I mean, the dirt has been disturbed already, and I think
But
doing
you still
some-
got timber on it. I mean, you haven't disturbed everything.
Yeah.
If you start building houses, shops, stuff like that, everything washes down into one low spot, comes across my property, so.
All right.
And I've got,
Yeah,
like I said,
we-
a large investment,
Yeah.
plantation.
Yes, sir.
pine.
Thank you.
And we have mechanisms, of course, that what the developer's got to show, I'm gonna step out of my lawyer world here, so the engineer needs to be prepared to step up and say that's not right. Generally, the rule is this: whatever water's leaving the site now, that's the amount, that's the maximum amount that needs to leave the site after all development activity has stopped. In other words, you can't throw off more water off of your property onto adjoining property now, after all the development activity, than before.
Pretty good, it's close.
All right. So we're not going to disturb the neighbors with additional stormwater being pushed off. We've got to address how do we contain the stormwater that is generated on site so that it doesn't negatively impact the neighbors. And there are hydrological, you're an engineer, so there are hydrological ways to determine what is happening given the development activity that's planned.
All right.
So-
Thank you, Mr. Jernigan, on that.
I'm
So-
sure as we get going, you and your supervisor can stay in close contact,
Yep.
you know, make sure everything, all your concerns are addressed.
Brad,
Yeah,
you good?
I'm good.
All right,
Do
so
you want to
so
add that too? Add
Yes,
that?
sir.
we'll
What do
close that public hearing, Mr. Slay?
Yes, sir.
But you want to add that part to it? Okay,
Yes, sir.
If Brad does. Your motion?
Yes, yeah, that's
that's what he said.
I'll make a motion to approve it on conditions of the water drainage.
Yeah, and so the conditions would be this: 1,800 square foot minimum heated and cooled, 150 foot front setback, accessory structures, if any, are gonna have to be placed behind the primary structure, no further subdividing of the lots without board authority, manufactured homes, mobile homes are prohibited, all drainage impacts have to be addressed satisfactorily as a condition to the rezoning.
Okay. We good with that?
Good.
Yeah,
All right, so that's be Mr. Calhoun's motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with a like sign. So it passes, and that, we did close that public hearing, Mr. Slay.
Yes, sir.
So item L.
Item L is a public hearing on the Hercules Concrete Pumping Incorporated Conditional Use Permit. This is South Pearson Road. This will be a District 1 property. I will open that public hearing. I'll ask anyone either in favor or opposed to the Hercules Concrete Pumping Inc. Conditional Use Permit request to be prepared to come forward. Ray Carr of Hercules Concrete Pumping Inc. is seeking a conditional use permit to construct an office with a shop on South Pearson Road. This is a 12.31 acre parcel. It's zoned RE1A. Mr. Carr is proposing construction of an 11,200 square foot metal building with an office area in front and a shop in the rear. The business currently has 9 trucks that will be parked behind the building. He plans to place a fence along the front of the property and keep the existing tree line which buffers on the sides and rear. The property is previously used as a dirt pit. Mr. Carr wants to see if he can be approved for this use before obtaining detailed drawings. Property was posted, and notice of this hearing has been published in the paper. There have been no calls received in opposition to this. I'll ask at this time if there is anyone here to speak in opposition to the Hercules Concrete Pumping, Inc. conditional use permit request.
Yes.
Anyone? If you'll please come forward.
Yeah.
Board may have trouble hearing you through your mask, so you'll take your mask off. Thank you. Name and address.
Okay, hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you all. My name's Mary Elizabeth Warren. My address is 2400 South Pearson Road.
Okay.
My sister, she's here, Hazel Sellers. Her address is also Pearson Road. I also started a petition on this because our parents are Mr. and Mrs. Plaswell, parent of 17 of us, along with perhaps 57 grandchildren, and it probably about 58 great-great-grandchildren.
Hey, walk me back to that parents of 17 just a second.
Okay.
I have 17 brothers and sisters.
Yes, 11 girls and 6 boys, and of course my sister Hazel Sellers, she's the oldest one, and I also have another sister whom I had to put in an ambulance this morning due to her health. I'm on my way now to take my sister to the kidney specialist at the UMC. So with everything that is going on, we are here. Thank God.
Plas passed away a few years ago, didn't he?
Now my father
Good.
actually he's been gone over 5 years.
It's been 5.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So I would like to say no, we do not want that in our community, and we feel that this business should be. I'm not going to say where this business should be, but this is a neighborhood, and it's been a neighborhood since my father, which the land belonged to. My father was born and raised on this property. This is this property goes back for many years. And this is a neighborhood of many children. So no, we do not want this in our neighborhood. Nothing personal. It's just this is a neighborhood.
Understand. All right. Thank you for your comments this morning.
Thank you.
Hope your family is good.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Mr. Slay, anything else on the public comments on this action?
Is the applicant here?
Yeah.
Y'all, that's y'all. All right, finally. I hadn't been getting this right at all today. I'm going to allow, with board's authority, I'm going to allow the applicant to come forward and address the conditions that are in place or proposed, and to suggest how it is that the board
Renee, you got a better mouth.
forward.
What's the zoning on? I mean,
RE1A.
Let me walk you guys, while the applicant's coming, let me walk you guys through, let me walk y'all through what your requirements are for considering this. A person desiring a conditional use application shall submit a written app, which has been done. It needs to indicate the section of the ordinance which the conditional use is sought. That's been done. It needs to establish the grounds upon which the conditional use may be permitted. That's been done. The Board of Supervisors then have the authority to determine whether or not the conditional use should be granted on the following basis. Are there any ingress or egress issues that need to be addressed? In other words, is it appropriate to get in and out of this site from a public road? I think that's been addressed. Are there any off-street parking or loading areas? The answer to that is those don't apply here, because all of the activity will take place on the interior of the property. Do we have any issues of solid waste collection or refuse? no known issues of that I'm aware of. It's a commercial business, so it wouldn't qualify for residential solid waste collection anyway. And so that just has to be addressed as a part of the commercial activity. He'll have to have a contract with some solid waste collector to take care of any commercial refuse. Are there any issues with utilities, such as are those available? Are they compatible? Do we expect any impact on surrounding properties as it relates to utilities? I'm not aware of any issues there. Is there screening and buffering that has been proposed? I think you heard at length that there is going to be an effort to try to provide screening at this site. You've got a fence along the front property line that would be immediately adjacent to Pearson, right? Right, that's proposed, but that's what I'm talking about. It's addressed.
But what type of fence?
Depending on what y'all need, I mean, I'm open to whatever.
How many acres are you looking at?
It's 12 acres.
12. So how much noise, I know your business was down the street from us for a lot of years, but
Yeah.
how much noise did you actually generate?
Not much. During the day, there may be, I mean, I don't know, mainly maintenance on the truck, so there's not gonna be a whole lot of noise.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
If there's any noise, we'll close it up in the shop and do all that.
I got you. So really, you just house your trucks there, and then you leave, go on site to do the pumping, right?
So I think screening, to some degree, screening has been addressed because it's a part of the application, the proposal. The applicant said, I know that we need to provide some level of screening. So you've got screening along the side lot lines that would be vegetated, right? Trees,
We're gonna
existing
leave all the
trees, whatnot,
vegetation.
just leave that in place.
Very mature.
Right, okay.
Natural buffer.
Another consideration, are there any issues of outside storage or anything that could be visible from the public road that could create a sightliness issue for the neighborhood? And so that, obviously, to some degree, the screening is designed to address those concerns, but there may need to be some thought given to how we locate staging areas or parking areas on the site so that there's a minimal impact from sight lines for the neighbors, right?
That's the reason why we're deciding to go park in the back.
Correct. So I think that was addressed, it appeared to be addressed. And then the question is this, is it compatible with adjacent properties and other properties within the district? What I think I understood from the application, and I think what the history shows, is that this site has been a dirt pit. How long did it operate? Jerry, do you know how long it operated as a pit?
I mean, it's been there, I don't know when it wasn't there.
Across the road also is a bigger
Right.
spot. It's still active now, right?
So you've got a pit that's immediately adjacent to a pit on the other side of the road. Is it still active?
Yes.
Still being utilized? So as you're thinking through this request before you, it's incumbent upon you to think about other adjacent properties and whether this proposed use would be compatible with other adjacent uses.
Let me make sure I understand. Where you're at now was a dirt pit.
No,
Okay, but
we're
across,
talking about coming in right now, it was a dirt pit.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking
that's
about.
what he did.
That's what I
Oh,
mean.
okay,
The
okay.
new location
The new
would be
loca-
an existing
Yeah.
dirt pit.
Where trucks come in and out,
Right.
and across the road,
Is an active dirt.
active dirt pit,
Yes.
where you have track hose and loaders
Tailgate slam.
and dump trucks.
Yep.
Okay.
Dust.
I understand.
I think dust.
What actually, what it seems to me, what you're gonna be doing is gonna cut down
Yeah.
on traffic and.
And we're gonna have a
noise.
limestone base on the property, so it's gonna go down a lot of the dust.
Okay, thank you.
I know
Employees.
that
This
road,
needs to be a lay-down yard and an office.
that road is extremely busy. Where you're looking at being located, is it on a hill?
It is on the hill, and we talked about, go ahead and, in the plans, go ahead and put, access point just widen to the drive, so our trucks can get out on there and just kinda get away from the
Wait,
traffic.
wait,
Kinda
wait,
run and
you talking about
start.
like a turn lane?
Not a turn lane, but just
I mean, like.
making it
Where
wider,
they
Wider
can get off
apron.
the road,
so they can see.
or just see?
Yeah,
Okay,
His driveway, not the road.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So are you like close to the top of the hill? Or you're on the side of the hill?
No,
No, we're gonna be back off the
you know,
road.
we
No, I
speak,
mean where the property is.
Yes, right on, yes, it goes up to the hill.
Yeah. So
And
you're
then
on
you go
top.
not completely.
It's dug out. He'll be well below the road.
Well, I'm not talking about, I'm talking as far as physically.
Yeah, the hill's gonna be right
property.
at the road.
It is, okay, yeah.
We're gonna build it up to where it's
Yeah,
not
so-
such a,
The point of ingress and egress will be at the top of the hill, Jay.
Yeah,
That's
what I'm
right.
saying.
Top of the hill coming out of the pit.
Right, so I just make sure you
But
can
you're-
see
yeah,
both
right.
ways, cause there is cars fly down through there.
oh, yeah.
You know,
Notice that.
He's
since
just
we
up
can't get
above
radar.
from West Beach Road. You know where that big house is on, right there
Yeah.
at West Beach?
Yeah.
Up on that, up the side, up above that house,
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
what, south of it.
Yeah.
Do y'all have any other questions
All right.
for Mr. Carr? Are you ready? Okay, very good. Finally getting it right. All right. Y'all have any other questions, Mr. Carr? All right.
Jerry, you good?
Appreciate it. Thank you, Greg.
So, gentlemen, it looks like, looking through the conditional use requirements contained in your zoning ordinance under section 2905, you've now addressed each of the considerations that are listed under our conditional use application process. And if you are satisfied that those conditions have been met by the applicant's application, you are in a position now to take action on the request. If you have any conditions that you want to set, now would be the time to do that. I'm not aware of any proposed conditions. And so if there is a need for conditions, now would be the time to address those.
Like what?
Well, yeah, we need a
Hours
fence.
of operation,
Yeah.
requirements with respect to protection of the public road. These are two that come to mind, Jared, that we typically will look at. If you have concerns about dust or noise, now is the time to address any additional screening activity that should be considered. There are a number of conditions that the board can entertain to help alleviate or address some of the concerns expressed by the neighbors. However, it occurs to me that because there's an active dirt pit immediately adjacent to this site, those impacts, which are not before you to address, by the way, there's nothing that you can do about how that site is being operated this time unless and until it impacts some public infrastructure. You don't have the ability to reduce the noise that's already there, is what I'm saying, or the sightliness issues, or dust. So at this point, I can't really conceptualize what additional conditions, aside from those already proposed by the applicant, should be considered unless you want to address some impact to your public road and the protection of public safety associated with how those vehicles are getting in and out of traffic on South Pearson.
Yeah, well, that was my major concern.
That would be something that, would need to be,
But they're finished with their public hearing, so there's no further comments at this point.
Excuse me,
Okay.
if I could speak again,
No,
I would
hey.
like to, if I could.
Well, right now, we're having our discussion on it. So give us just a few minutes. If we need to get back to you, we will. Just, we let you speak, so give us just a second. So,
Thank you so much.
Mr. Slay, how do you
Yeah,
want to
so
proceed?
I would-
what I'm getting at, yeah, I agree, the only thing, I am concerned about the turning in and out, twisting in and out in that area. I know how they, you know, you can't help it, but they do impact the wear and tear of the road of those size trucks twisting in and out.
Yes, sir.
How do the dump trucks get in and out?
Same place,
Okay.
same way. And the site part, the opening it wide there for site obviously is a must. I almost wish it could have been some way built where the truck had a way to get off, you know, somewhat. off the road.
Deceleration type
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, because like you said, right now especially, and I don't see it changing much, there's a lot of traffic on that road.
Is that a 4-lane right at that spot?
Too.
There's a stop sign down there, it's a two-way, I think.
That's at Harper, yeah,
Yeah,
three-way, yeah.
or three-way.
At Harper, which I'm trying to look on the map how far down Harper. It's a good piece down, I think, though. I think it's a good bit south of that.
So my thought would be, kind of what Mr. Carr had already indicated was that there's a widening at the point of ingress egress so that visibility is enhanced there for traffic purposes. That's an important, but that's already a part of what is being proposed. Making that a condition to the conditional use application could be important.
How many trucks did you say you had?
9.
9? Okay, if you look at that, I mean, 9, they're not like they go like hauling dump trucks back and forth, back and forth.
Leave in the morning.
They usually leave out in the morning or sometime through the day, and they don't come back and then turn around and take off again. So there's not that much traffic created
1 or 2 runs a day.
by that.
So this is better than the dirt pit.
Right,
So
I mean,
less
it's only 9 trucks, okay, 10, whatever,
Yeah.
I mean,
Not loaded.
Less than 20 trucks,
Yeah.
less than 20 trucks.
and they're empty.
In and out, and the half of
Can't be
those are
loaded.
empty.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they are if they're the dirt pit.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned that it goes downhill on the property. You know, we had discussed at one time bringing in a rubbish site over there, and that was, the sightliness was a big deal. But what was suggested was then, of course, we didn't proceed with it, but it's something you might want to think about is building you a berm and having your access where it goes in at an angle. Then you wouldn't even have to build a fence. Everything would be out of sight anyway. You know, just a thought.
All right, Mr. Slay, I think
Did y'all want to accommodate one additional comment?
Sure. Do you?
I don't have a problem, each you
Okay,
can if she
sure.
wants to, sure.
Come on up.
Make it brief.
Sure. Just keep it in a couple minutes. Thank you.
The noise alone, and being that it's a quiet zone. Like I explained to you, my siblings they are sick. And the noise alone, like you said, even dealing with the dump trucks, has been a huge problem, just the noise alone. And I live right next door to the dump truck. You don't sleep, if they start at a certain time, but the thing is, if it's raining or if it's a situation, then they can't go in and out of there. And the street alone is dangerous. And like I said, this is a community.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Slay, we close the public hearing.
Yes, sir, please.
If you're
Mr.
good.
President. Yes, sir.
All right, so the board wish to entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve with conditions that we had stated before.
All right, so motion by Mr. Bishop,
Second.
second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign.
Aye.
Item L is there. She voted against us.
There's
All
gonna
right,
be less.
Item M, Mr. Slay.
Yes. All right. Item M is the authorization to release the bid security provided by Republic Service that's related to their response to our solid waste collection and disposal RFPs. We just need to release their bid security. This is the bidder, by the way, who only bidded on disposal, did not submit a bid on collection. And so we see no need, given the fact that the board is considering the combination of those two services, we see no need to continue to hold their bid security, and we're asking for permission to release that.
All right, so the board wish to entertain a motion.
Motion to release.
All right, so a motion by Mr. Gaines to
Second.
release, second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed with the like sign. Item M passes. So item N, Mr. Slay.
For the record on that one, you notice that there is nothing that says authority to issue check, and that's because we haven't negotiated their check. You're just simply sending their own check back to them.
Okay.
So you don't need to authorize that.
All right, item N.
All right, I didn't want anybody to accuse me of forgetting that again. Item N is I need a board order. If y'all will allow me to ad lib here on the fly, this relates to Gulf South Pipeline, which we have discovered has been escaping taxation with respect to its personal property taxes that are owed for stored natural gas supplies that it keeps at its location in Rankin County. And so because it has escaped taxation, there is a process that we need to go through to provide for an actual initial assessment of that property tax that is owed. And so what I'm asking you to do today, I realize what's on here, and this is precisely what I gave Janice to put on the agenda. So it's accurate based on what I indicated initially, but I want to ad lib here. What I'd like to do is to get an order acknowledging receipt of the tax assessor's assessment of escaped taxes and authorize the Chancery Clerk then to provide for notice to the taxpayer that it is being assessed and provide an opportunity for them to provide an objection before you actually receive the assessment. We'll come back later and you will receive the assessment and it'll go on the tax roll. So what you're doing today is acknowledging receipt of the tax assessor's initial assessment of escape tax, and you're authorizing the Chancery Clerk to provide the required notice.
All right, so the board wish to entertain a motion on that?
I make a motion to approve.
So, motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed with the like signs? Item N passes. We've covered item O. Mr. Slay, you have anything else you want to add or bring in?
No, sir. I don't think there's anything else. I'll get with the Chancery Clerk's office and we'll make sure we get the notices out and the documentation executed.
Perfect. So item 9, Mr. Hicks, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Good. What you got, item A?
Item A is the approval for Rankin County to accept a 3-year lease purchase financing agreement with Trustmark National Bank for the lease of a Kenworth dump truck for the road department at an interest rate of 1.14% with a $65,000 buyback.
All right. Does the board wish to make a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Gaines,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? Item A passes. Item B, Mr. Hicks.
All right, item B is working with our partners locally here, the municipalities, in support of Lafourche Parish, Louisiana. The Rankin County Board of Supervisors authorizes Rankin County Sheriff's Department to accompany deliveries of donations collected in Brandon and Pearl for hurricane relief. Basically, the community is donating water, supplies, and everything for the hurricane relief effort. And we're asking the board to authorize the Sheriff's Department to escort those supplies.
All right, board wish to entertain a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Calhoun, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? Thank you, Sheriff, for doing that. Any additional business, Mr. Hicks?
No, I'd also like to recognize the EOC Department for their involvement in that process as well.
Thanks, Grantham. So, we already thanked Word for praying, so we'll just skip over him this time. So, and no other additional business, Mr. Slay? Any, Mr. Hicks?
I got
Y'all
one
good?
thing, I got one thing I'd like to, Ms. Slate, not to be involved in this.
All right, Craig, I think he
Just,
needs you.
I just wanted to, back sometime, remember they started that, hauling that dirt out on Pearson, and it's coming off of private property, I think, maybe belongs to Richland, that's in the Richland city limits, but then it comes across county property onto Pearson Road, and it created a lot of dust, and it's created a problem. I think you mentioned maybe, Jay, speaking to somebody.
Yeah, I did.
Well, I don't know what we can do. I keep getting messages about the dust and gritting your teeth, and I got a picture one day, and it is a cloud, like a cloud coming out of the trees where the, well, there it is right there, coming out when they're hauling out. And so I think they need to do something to make them, to ask them to water that more frequent.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know, and obviously it rained here, but we went through these several weeks here. This was Thursday last week. But we need to do something to try to help these people. So is there anything we can do as far as sending a letter or making any more than just asking? Because it comes across, I understand it's city, but it comes across, they bought an easement across county property entering the road.
Yes, sir. Would certainly communicate with the operator and request that they introduce a water truck on site.
So maybe that could be
As
a
part of their
special
operations.
penmanship by Mr. Slay's
Yeah.
office?
I
You good with that?
think we need to do something
Yeah,
like
sure.
that and make an effort, because
You good with that,
Yes,
Craig?
yes,
So-
I'm good with that. I would need contact information, it's just some help getting that.
Dave may have, he said he contacted somebody.
Jay?
Yep.
Yeah,
Good with that? Board good with Mr. Slay's penmanship on that?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Anything else additional business? let's just skip over item 11 and go to the item 12. Is there any executive session?
We do request discussion on personnel and
right.
possible land
So,
acquisition.
board wish to entertain a motion for personnel
Not
in
really,
executive
but yes,
session?
it will.
We can skip it.
To you, Mr. President,
Huh?
but your colleague, Mr. Word, may want to give you guys a quick update on some engagement that we've got on our different things. Come on.
The civic ready?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Come on, Brian. Brian can give you, I'm gonna give you the 30-second spiel on this. Brian can touch you up. He did about a little over a year's worth of research getting us, finding the best mass messaging program that we could get. After a year of research, we were able to land with, if I get my names right, Civic Ready? Civic Ready. Civic Ready was the platform that we landed on. We got everything going, launched it in January, did some testing through February. Everything was good for the next 60 days. And y'all know me, I'm gonna call it like I see it, under the cloak of darkness. They pulled the wool out from under us, or the rug out from under us, and totally changed the platform. We lost the functionality that was key to us to be able to communicate with the citizens of Rankin County. And we've been working with them for 3 months. Do you have any plans of getting this platform back up? Can we get this functionality? Well, we're working on it. We're working on it. So we've entered into some other talks with the original company, and Brian's going to be able to give you a pretty good call on what that is. But that's where we are today. And they knew beyond a shadow of a doubt in my mind that this acquisition was going to happen, and refused to tell us until such time as you stroked out a $15,000 check.
Wow.
So.
They
And
got
I've
us.
got Maria to hold up. The new bill is set to cut in November, and I have asked her to do not pay that bill until such time as we get this worked out and you guys give us a direction you want us to go.
Yeah, so like you said, we originally contracted with Civic Ready. They were using a platform called Regroup to do all of their mass messaging. They checkmarked all the boxes that we needed them to checkmark. Everything was good, like he said. About May, I got an email saying that there was a product enhancement, a little bit of software update, and that they would retrain us on all of that. Nothing was ever mentioned about changing platforms at all. They did change platforms to a group called Alert Sense. So originally it was Regroup, now it's Alert Sense, and we've lost some functionality, some automation that we definitely need here in Rankin County when it comes to the weather alerts. I do want to make a mention that if a citizen signed up under the old system to receive tornado warnings, flash flood warnings, they are still receiving those text message emails however they choose. However, the biggest functionality is our social media. We have quite a following on Facebook and Twitter.
How many do you think you got? Right.
As far as signed up,
Yeah.
we're close to the 5,000 mark.
And followers?
I'm sorry.
Is that followers or people signed up?
That's people signed up. Facebook, we're looking at almost 20,000 people that do that. So, one of our biggest things is with this functionality that we lost was the automatic weather alerts to our social media pages. So now that requires manpower at 2 o'clock in the morning to get up and do that posting or whatever. Regroup has contacted us about switching back to them. We would gain all our functionality that we had originally. All the sign-ups would be the same. Also, one thing I wanted to mention is when they changed in the middle of the night to Alert Sense, all our sign-up links and everything broke. So if you go to the rankincounty.org, you try to click on sign up for the new alerts. If you're a new citizen to Rankin County, you get directed to the old group, which is broken because they don't know how to contract with them. So we're just kind of waiting to see what you guys want to do as far as before I go through updating the links or getting Scott Cole to update the links on the website. And then a month later, we change back to the old group, whatever y'all decide. So we're kind of
annual
holding.
subscription? Is that what
It is, and it's due in November.
So we're about at the end of our.
Now, according to Alert Sense, they will have this functionality by the middle of October.
It's crazy they took it down. Yeah.
After, I mean,
After they,
Yeah.
The big thing with us was that we lost the functionality, but these people didn't even give us a courtesy call after they cashed our check to say, hey, we're fixing to make some changes. This is an enhancement. No, it wasn't an enhancement. It's a total platform change. You can't provide this service, which is why you contracted with Regroup. So now your guys are trying to build it in-house. So that's what they're doing, is their own engineers, I guess, are trying to build and develop
Reverse
a social
engineer,
media
yeah.
platform,
Right.
and we hope it works. I don't know. That's what they're telling us.
So I know it was a big savings, and I think that's why you went with it, right? Plus it had all the functionality.
Correct.
reach more people than.
What's your alternative? Do you have an
Regroup.
alternative?
So Regroup, the original group, has made they haven't sent me the actual proposal, but they're willing to take whatever our current subscription price is and knock off 30% to go with them. Civic Ready, the ones that have changed on us to Alert Sense, are very concerned about this new update, and they are willing to give us $3,000 off our annual subscription. So they know they messed up, and they're willing to come off the pricing. So either way, in November, it'll be much cheaper.
But for 1 year.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's 1 year, 1 year agreements.
So why did you change from Regroup to start with?
We didn't. They changed on us with software enhancement.
Civic Ready couldn't provide the service. We didn't know that. So Civic Ready is contracted over here with Regroup to provide the service. We didn't know that.
So,
Then in the middle of the night, they said, you know what, Regroup, we think we can do this cheaper on our own. So they severed ties with Regroup, and now we lost all the functionality. That's their update. And now they're trying to go back and backfill these gaps. So Regroup, the original company that could provide all of this, is who he's talking about that's come back with a.
Does it offer all the features you want?
That's
Also?
the original.
What we
That's the
signed up
original
for.
thing that we were using.
All
Yeah.
right. Timmy, you see how good he does his hands? So when you come up here on some of these road projects, if you could use the hand gestures that Word's got, he can get you like a little cheat sheet. But how he maneuvers it around, and he does it when he flexes a little more. You don't have to flex, but if you can just use those hand motions. That's right, that's right.
however,
right.
if you go back and look at the video, Regroup was in the left hand and the right hand.
Hey, he's got all the shots, you know? That's right. So, Word, do you need any action, or are you just making us aware of it for now?
No, we just need to know what you
put
guys
hands
want us
down.
to do. I guess would be kind of, I guess some authority for us to actually get into some real negotiations.
That's
and get
what
some
I would
concrete
recommend.
paperwork.
Brad?
Yeah, I think Mike wants y'all to tell them, go find out if Regroup will hurry up and get us a proposal that y'all can authorize.
Figure out a
Absolutely.
plan.
We trust
Alright.
y'all with it.
All right, anything else under additional business? We good? So entertain a motion to go in executive session for personnel.
so moved.
All right, so motion by Mr. Morrison,
Second.
second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. All right, so there we go.
We have to have a separate motion to discuss the
I'll make a motion to discuss the need to go into executive session.
Personnel, we'll make a motion to discuss the need for Janice to go in executive session. Second by myself. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.